Clearing this afternoon with the 3 o'clock news. I'm Michaela Kamarek. The Queen's lying in state has officially ended ahead of her funeral in London. Clinton Maynard reports.
Over 4 days, tens of thousands of everyday people, along with presidents, prime ministers and celebrities, have filed past the Queen's coffin in Westminster Hall. Some people over the weekend waited more than 26 hours. After hosting world leaders at Buckingham Palace, the King has released a statement. Charles says he's been deeply touched by the messages of condolence and the support. The Queen's great-grandchildren, 9-year-old Prince George and 7-year-old Princess Charlotte, will play a role today as well. They'll walk with other members of the royal family behind the Queen's coffin between Westminster Hall and the Abbey, and more than 10,000 police will be on duty in London today.
The FIVEAA broadcast of the funeral service will begin at 7 p.m. People won't have to wear face masks on public transport in SA from tomorrow. This week's EMC meeting was brought forward to discuss a range of issues, including mask mandates. Premier Peter Malinauskas says it'll be relaxed following health advice.
I think there are a lot of public transport patrons who will look forward to that relief being put in place tomorrow. Of course, there still remains the option to continue to wear masks, whether you're a driver or a public transport user. Of course, you are welcome to wear masks if that is a choice that is made by that individual.
In other changes, QR check-ins and COVID vaccinations will no longer be required to enter health and aged care centres from Friday. Meantime, aged care providers will receive the bulk of a new funding package to help deal with COVID. An extra $1.4 billion will be spent on various measures to protect the most vulnerable from the virus. It also includes funding to continue the Medicare rebate for COVID tests and buy more protective equipment. Federal Health Minister Mark Butler says the additional cash injection is needed.
It is the fact that since the advent of the Omicron variant in particular, the number of aged care facility outbreaks has increased very dramatically. We've looked at this and realised that we need to provide additional funds over the course of the rest of the year to secure aged care.
A major search is underway at Stevenheath Park at Andrews Farm for missing man Jeffrey McLean. The 55-year-old hasn't been seen since last month and police fear he's met with foul play. Detective Inspector Brett Featherby says they believe he left his home on August 19 at about 4 a.m. to meet an unknown person.
Jeffrey was known to use drugs, but we don't know if that's the reason why he's missing. And we can't exclude that possibility, but as I said, we're here today to exclude that he hasn't died within this area. Statistically, it's very common for missing persons to be located within close proximity to their home, but we can't exclude his drug use as a reason for him having disappeared.
The operation involves major crimes, Star Group, mounted operations and police divers. President Joe Biden says the United States would send forces to defend Taiwan in the event of an invasion by China. The BBC's Paddy Maguire has more.
These are the president's strongest comments on Taiwan so far. In May, Mr. Biden also said the US would be willing to defend the island against Chinese aggression, but stopped short of saying he would deploy American forces. Responding to the interview, the White House said the US position on Taiwan, which Beijing calls its own territory, had not changed. Washington has long maintained a policy of strategic ambiguity on whether it would defend the island. China's President Xi Jinping has said reunification with the mainland must be achieved and has not ruled out the use of force. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has prompted fears that China may also be motivated to act.
Now turning to FIVEAA sport, Geelong veteran Tom Hawkins is focused on staying in the moment as he prepares for another grand final. The two-time premiership player is trying to soak it all up, knowing it could be his last chance to win a flag. He's having a light week on the training track and trying not to get too worked up about the occasion.
No, certainly not. It's funny. I mean, trying to really enjoy the moment. No, you just don't get the opportunity in football to play in grand finals and to do it certainly. Well, as a 34-year-old, I'm a realist. I'm just going to really enjoy the week.
Australia will take on the Netherlands in tennis's Davis Cup in November after booking its place in the final 8, and Cameron Smith has recorded his maiden win on the LIV Golf Tour, taking out the tournament in Chicago by 3 shots. He pockets $6 million in winnings. Now the FIVEAA traffic.
At Mount Osmond, there's a breakdown on the freeway up track. It's near Devil's Elbow. At Keswick, there's a concrete spill on Richmond Road at Anzac Highway. Got a lane closed there and seeing delays. Kilburn, urgent civil works on Churchill Road, Nicolayton Avenue. you? Well, at Globe Derby Park, look out for a Bruce Watermain, Port Wakefield Road near Globe Derby Drive. Cameras today, Barnes Road, Glen and Cheltenham Parade at Cheltenham. 7 News, your place for the broadcast of the Queen's funeral, live and uninterrupted. The grateful goodbye. Switch now to Channel 7. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast. Cloud clearing this afternoon, showers developing tomorrow 20, showers easing on Wednesday 17 and Thursday partly cloudy and 19. Right now it's 17. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News Tonight.
The most important farewell the world will ever see. Her Majesty laid to rest. In a special global event, Tracy Grimshaw, Peter Overton, Alison Langdon, Carl Stefanovic, Australian television's most experienced news team, reports live from the Queen's funeral. Watch and stream now on Channel 9 and 9 Now.
Jade Robran, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
Welcome back to Afternoons. We're just looking at live pictures coming through from London right now, and the last mourners are being ushered out of where the Queen is lying in state. So the Black Rod are making their way through. The live vision is still being beamed out, but the doors will close soon, and 3 p.m. our time, which is now, so the doors have now closed and lying in state has now officially ended. So the last mourners have been moved out, and the service will begin at 7:30 our time, where the Queen's coffin will make its way out of Parliament and make its way to Westminster Abbey.
Pet Talk back with Dr. Derek McNair.
Good afternoon to you, Dr. Derek.
Good afternoon, Jade.
Lovely to have you here on this beautiful spring afternoon.
It's nice after the funny weekend.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
Oh, wasn't it? It was rainy and a bit miserable, but it's beautiful out there, which has got us chatting about springtime and dangers in your garden, because there is a few, isn't there? Many,
Actually. I guess there's things that appear without us, like spiders. You can get spider bites, and I guess the old snakes, or the old Joe Blakes as my father-in-law used to call them, they come out as well, so you have to be very careful, especially if you're in the foothills or even up in the hills. You've got to be very careful, but make a lot of noise. They tend to move away from you, but dogs and cats don't work that out, so they tend to attack them. So yes, if you think your dog or cat has been bitten by a snake, try and keep it as still as possible and just zoom it off to your nearest vet. It's certainly the best thing to do.
Is there anything that you should do? I mean, we know with with humans that you wrap the area to try and slow the spread. What should you do with dogs and cats?
Just really keep them quiet. I mean, if you take that time to wrap them, a lot of dogs, if you don't know what you're doing, will struggle, and you'll actually just cause a bit more anxiety for them. So I think if you pretend nothing much has happened, talk to them nice and calmly, carry them if you can, if they're not too far from your car and they're not too big that you can carry them, then let them do as little as possible. Get them into the car and just go to your nearest vets. And if you know where they've been bitten, that's handy as well. We can actually test if we know where the bite wound is. You can actually test if they have been bitten, or there's some other tests you can do as well, sometimes from urine and stuff like that. And then, but yes, keeping them quiet. I wouldn't wrap the legs. A lot of dogs will get upset with that, so keeping them quiet is the best.
And should
thing.
you call yourself on arrival to say, okay, this is what I think's happened, so that you can get an anti-venom ready for when you walk through the door?
Yes. I mean, you do have a bit of time, depending what snake it is, depending how much venom, depending where the bite has been. You've got a little bit of time to play with. Yeah. So you need to keep calm. That I'm not sure I'd be very good at that.
No, I think that's probably the hardest part, wouldn't it?
That would be the hardest part, for you to keep calm, keep your pet calm, and just phone up and just sort of say, look, I think my pet might have been bitten by a snake. I'm on my way down. So yes, and then you can get things ready. I mean, there's dangers of giving antivenin. So sometimes, if we're not sure, we'll wait and see if there's any symptoms of a snake bite, which is usually muscle paralysis. So the legs go weak, and then if it goes on long enough, the chest muscles go weak as well, and they have difficulty breathing. But usually it's weakness in walking is the first thing that we'll notice. So yes, the snakes are a danger. What you put down to try and keep your garden clean. So snail pellets are a huge danger, and even the ones that say taste deterrent, some of them have dog and cat and child taste deterrent included in them. But we have had a lot of dogs, not so much cats, but dogs who will still eat the snail pellets. And if you think your dog has eaten some snail pellets, again, get to the vet very quickly, because they kill dogs just as easily as they kill snails.
And of course, rat poisons as well in that.
Rat poison, yes. Yeah, rat poison is a big thing as well. It acts in a different way from the snail pellets. The snail pellets affect the nervous system and will cause seizures, and certainly if they've had enough will certainly cause death. Rat poison stops the blood from clotting. So if your dog or cat eats a lot of rat poison, again, go to the vet. If it's happened recently, we can make them sick. If it hasn't happened recently, we can still test to see if they probably had it. And the good news is there's an antidote for rat poison, which is vitamin K. So, and they actually have to have vitamin K often with the new range of snail pellets, I'm getting myself confused now, of rat poison. They'll last for 6 weeks in the system, so you have to give vitamin K for 6 weeks, and then at the end of it we will test to check that the clotting time is normal. So the good news is there's an antidote for the rat poison. There isn't for snail pellets, but there's supportive things we can do and try and get out the system and try and prevent other death from happening. And then even things like fertilizers, blood and bone, dynamic lifter, things like that. Some dogs love the taste of those.
Do they?
Yes.
It smells disgusting.
They do eat lots of things that smell disgusting. So, yes, if they eat enough of that, again, if they eat a small amount, it will give them a bad tummy upset. And so that needs to be treated. If they eat a lot, again, that can cause seizures as well. Wow. So, yes, so there's a few, I don't mean to scare people too much, but there's a few things you have to be aware of, especially the poisons. The poisons you put down to kill things can kill your pets as well, so just be very, very careful. You can get containers, often just like tubes, like cement pipes that you can put the poisons inside. Certainly the rat poisons where the rats can get in, but it's too small an entrance for cats and dogs to get in. So doing something like that, make sure you put it in a very, very safe place.
We're going to take a short break. We've got Dr. Derek with us for just a few short moments. So if you'd like to call in and ask any questions at all about your furry friend or feathered friend, 8223 0000 is the number to call, or our text line is open 0448 08 1395.
It's Grand Final week and we're turning back the clock to celebrate the greatest AFL Grand Final wins, 97 and 98.
You forgot one there, Rowey. It's got to be the greatest AFL Grand Final, 04.
Wasn't 07, was it?
No, certainly not. What about 2017?
Join us all week as we remember the best and the worst Grand Final appearances for the Crows and Power as we decide the best win ever.
Losing sleep over snoring? Well, I'm not. The wife is. Getting match fit starts with a CPAP direct sleep test, cpap.com.au.
Hello. Frank Walker from National Tiles. National Tiles' famous Grand Final Spend and Save is on now. Yes, National Tiles' once-a-year famous Grand Final Spend and Save is on every day until Sunday. Spend $4,000 and we'll only charge you $2,750. Or spend $2,000 and we'll only charge you $1,450. Do not, absolutely do not miss the unbeatable National Tiles Spend and Save. Rush into National Tiles now and save.
So the garden tap connects to the tap adapter. The tap adapter connects to the tap timer. The tap timer connects to the hose connector. The hose connector connects to the Pope
hose. The Pope hose connects to a sprinkler. Keeping your garden green is easy with Pope's Permafit Connection no-leak garden hoses. And that's how your garden grows. Make the connection with Pope Garden Watering Systems. Available at Bunnings Warehouse.
Our pets can be such a comfort, and to some of us they really are part of the family. So to show them that you care, head into your local Cheapest Chips for amazing catalogue deals out this Wednesday. With the warm weather, pets are itching to play outside. When you can't keep an eye on them, a 6-panel wire-coated pet pen can keep them out of mischief for just $79. Call into your nearest Cheapest Chips to grab the huge, super soft pet bed for only $55, and a barrel pet dispensers, well, they're just $16. There's loads of great deals like travel dog kennels from $39 or professional pet clipper sets only $49. Get to your local Cheapest Chips for amazing catalogue deals out this Wednesday. Even pets live cheaper every day at Cheapest Chips.
Did you know in Ghana many people are buried in fantasy coffins that represent their lives? These include coffins shaped like planes, fish, cars, animals, even shoes. For a more simple, affordable option, talk to simplicityfunerals.com.au.
Hi, Susanna Toop here. 17%. This is a number of properties we lease each month through our early release platform, saving landlords hundreds in advertising costs. Who are you trusting to look after your biggest investment? Toop.com.au.
Across SA, there's bound to be an independent RAA-approved repairer close by. There's over 450. They're ready to assist with servicing, mechanical problems, crash repairs and specialty jobs. They're audited to RAA's high standards, giving you peace of mind that your car's in good hands. So, before you head out on your next road trip to do the fun stuff, let RAA take care of the car stuff. Search RAA Motor for more. Keep on moving on. RAA-approved repairers are independent service providers, not agents of RAA. Terms and conditions apply. Available from RAA.
G'day, it's Jared for Southern Mitsubishi. Thinking Mitsubishi or servicing your existing car? Southern Mitsubishi stock the full range, all designed to thrill. And they can service any make or model. 147 Main South Road, Morfett Vale. Driven by Australian Motors. LVD 80.
$13.95, Adelaide's FIVEAA. This is Jade Robran.
Welcome back to Pet Talk. It is 21 minutes past 3 o'clock. If you'd like to talk to Dr. Derek about your pet, give us a call, 8223 0000. The phone lines are open. I've got a text message here from Dione. Hi, Jade and Dr. Derek. My 6-month-old Kelpie Cross Jack Russell Cross Red Heeler called Scooby-Doo, oh cute, is doing circle work, trying to bite his own back leg. I don't think he has fleas. Is he just being a nutcase puppy, or might there be a medical issue with him? Any ideas? Thank you. And then there's a photo of this very cute Scooby-Doo. He looks a little bit mischievous to me.
Yes, the answer, Dione, is it could be either. If he's tending to go in circles, then that can sometimes be boredom. There are a couple of weird medical conditions that can cause dogs to sort of circle a bit, and they can do other funny things as well. But it can be boredom, especially with very energetic dogs, and healers and stuff like that are super energetic. So she doesn't say how much exercise. Is that the whole text?
That is the whole text.
Okay.
But he's got a flat ball in front of him, which I guess he's bitten through,
right,
which might mean he is bored or he's a bit mischievous, like
yes.
I said.
Yes.
He's
yes.
gorgeous, though.
I mean, if he's actually biting one of his legs, then yes, it raises the possibility that that leg might be itchy, or there might be a sore on it or something like that. So the best thing is probably to do two things. One is take a video of Scooby-Doo behaving as he is doing, and go along to your vet and get them to check the back leg. There's a sort of an easy thing we can do. There's either an injection or there's tablets we can give, which should take away all the feeling of itchiness from dogs. And so we often use that to see if it's a behavioural thing, or if the leg in this case is actually itchy. So that is an option that Dione has, that she might want to go along to the vet, and he can give something to, if he can't actually see anything on the leg, to give something to find out if it's a behavioural thing or not. And yeah, she might want to look and see how much exercise Scooby's getting, because they're super energetic, especially as puppies. They might have to go to doggy daycare, they need sort of a bit of off-leash exercise. If they just, go for a couple of hours walk, that's often not enough for these sort of dogs.
Oh, right, that's interesting. Could it perhaps be hay fever as well?
Hay fever?
Do they get itchy?
Yes, it could be. It's usually, and I was assuming because it was running around in circles, it was a back leg it was trying to get. But yes, hay fever does cause itchy legs. It causes itchy heads, itchy ears, itchy lower legs. It usually is. It's usually the front legs rather than the back legs. But yeah, it is a possibility. Good thinking. And again,
because I'm spending so much time around you, I'm doing my cadetship.
And again, if we're suspicious of that, we'd give something called Cytopoint or Apoquel and try and work out if the itching and chasing stopped. Then yes, we'd be thinking it's an itchy thing.
Dione says, thank you. I will take a video of him doing it, and he is very, very mischievous with a big smiley emoji there. Talking about, we're out and about, it's spring, a lot of planting. Seeds that often get is it grass seeds that often get stuck between the paws? Is that around about now that we have to be careful of that too?
Yes. It all starts about now when things start sprouting in spring. Then yes, the grass seeds, they're like little darts, and that's the problem. So once they get wedged in amongst the hair, then the movement of the dog moves the grass seed, and it just burrows its way in, and it can be quite painful. So the most common places that it goes is between the toes. So a lot of people, if they've got fluffy dogs, they should go along to their groomer, or the vets can do it as well, and actually just shave the hair off their feet. So at the end of a walk, they can check easily between the toes, make sure there's no grass seeds there. If there are, you can often get them as they're about to work their way in and just pull them out. And the other most common spot is in the ears, where they get stuck in the ears, and that's very painful, as you can imagine. The grass seed works its way down and can get right down to the eardrum and stick in the eardrum, which is...
Oh, ouch.
Yes, and the dog says, ouch, and they'll come in.
How do you get them out?
If the dog is super well behaved and it's not amazingly sore, we put a scope down, and then we put what's called alligator forceps, which are just like little grippy forceps down, and you can actually just grab the end of the grass seed and pull it out. But in most cases we have to sedate them because it's so sore, and if it's down at the eardrum, you don't want them jumping or you'll cause more damage. So yes, and occasionally if it goes in the paw, we have to actually operate because it will go under the skin and stick there as well. So certainly, yes, if you notice your dog suddenly chewing at one paw, then that would raise alarm bells. It's a grass seed, and maybe have a look, and you might see them yourself, and you can actually pick them out. They're sort of beigey, fawny, light brown in colour.
So to perhaps after each walk just have a little bit of a look,
yes,
a little bit of a brush of their paws.
Yes, and in their ears as well.
Okay.
Yeah, they can get in their nose and everywhere. So if you have a long-haired, fluffy dog, just sort of be quite vigilant and check them afterwards.
Thanks, Dr. Derek. And if anybody would like to get in contact with you, they can at on the parade. You are there?
On the parade, 27 the parade, and the number's 83635323.
Beautiful. You have a lovely afternoon. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And we are going to head to London for an update of the Queen's funeral. It is 6:57 a.m. local time there in Windsor, and we can see hundreds of people are starting to get their deck chairs and line the streets. So a few hours' time until the Queen's service does start. We will head to London after this short break.
Join 5AA each night from midnight for Australia Overnight.
Hi, it's Tony Moclair here, host of Australia Overnight. Thrilled and delighted, joined by listeners from 5AA, Adelaide's best radio station.
Tony Moclair takes your calls right through the early hours.
And those listeners contributing to the Australia Overnight program and being part of the larger family.
Catch Australia Overnight.
Welcome aboard 5AA.
Live from midnight on Adelaide's 5AA.
Look around your house and yard.
If you see old tools, broken bike frames, an old fridge and even that old car, don't look at it as junk, look at it as dollar signs. At Nor Metals, our priority is to give you the best value for your scrap metal disposal. We offer cash for scrap Monday to Friday and Saturday mornings for a range of different steel supplies and car components, including bodies and radiators. Get cash for your scrap at Nor Metals, 255 Grand Junction Road, Ottaway.
We are go for launch in T-minus 4, 3, 2, 2.
Don't you hate waiting for things? Well, at Bob Burns Blinds, you won't have to wait. We can have your new roller blinds measured and installed in just 10 days. We make our blinds right here in Adelaide, not interstate, where you could be waiting up to 3 months. 10-day installation. That's the Bob Burns promise.
We are go for liftoff.
bobburnsblinds.com.au.
Hello, I'm Professor Michael Kidd. New oral treatments are now available to high-risk people to fight the effects of COVID-19 if you contract the virus. You can take these at home, and they're available for high-risk people, including many older Australians, immunocompromised adults, and First Nations peoples. You need a prescription, so talk to your healthcare professional now to be prepared. For more information and to find out if you're eligible, visit australia.gov.au.
Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
The best thing about owning a caravan is you don't need to wait for a getaway. So why wait for your caravan? Dave Benson Caravans have brand new caravans ready for delivery right now. Essential caravans are ready to roll with a huge range of essential C-Class or essential cruisers to choose from. Plus, get Dave Benson exclusive concierge with 12 months rego, roadside assist, pre-delivery service and more. Don't wait to escape. Visit Dave Benson Caravans, 64 Grand Junction Road, Kilburn.
Everyone at the back, please. Sitting quietly, please. In a circle, thank you. Today we're going to talk about what we'd like to be when we grow up.
A police girl. Race car driver. I want to be a gymnast. I want to be a concreter. With Adelaide exposed concrete.
I want to be a concreter too.
Me too.
AdelaideExposedConcrete.com.au. Best on ground all year round.
What's a concreter?
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar here. Everything is going up. We're seeing it in fuel, interest rates, in our everyday shop, even the humble lettuce. But there's one thing that's really going to bite. It's the hike in electricity, and it's not going away unless you do something about it. At NRG Solar, we'll show you how to zero out your energy bills with NRG solar panels and battery storage. So get in touch with NRG Solar today and start saving. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Good afternoon, I'm Michaela Kamarek. Crowds are continuing to pour out onto the streets of London as people try to catch a glimpse of the funeral procession for Queen Elizabeth II. Passengers on public transport in SA don't have to wear face masks from tomorrow. The push is on to simplify the MyGov app and make it a one-stop shop for all government services. And Australia will face the Netherlands when it plays in the Davis Cup tennis quarterfinals in November. Cloud clearing this afternoon and showers developing tomorrow, 20, currently at 17. More news at 4 o'clock and as it happens on 5AA.
Jade Robran on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
Welcome back to Afternoons. It's 28 minutes to 4 o'clock. Coming up after 4 o'clock, of course, it's the sports show with Timmy G and Rowey. Timmy, what a massive, massive weekend in sport.
You know when you go away and you try and repack your suitcase and you just can't get it to
It's
zip up
bursting.
because it's bursting at the seams? Well, that is the sports show tonight. It is huge. Unbelievable. What a weekend. And
So good.
so many results, so many things to talk about. The Brownlow medal last night, of course, because the Queen's funeral's going to be
I like it on
Monday.
a Sunday, actually.
Yeah, well, I actually thought it was a better fit. I reckon.
So do I.
Yeah, I think Sunday
and then
might be the
especially
go.
if you're playing in the final, it means you don't have that late night on a Monday.
Correct.
You're home, you get your normal week. I didn't mind it.
I liked it, and maybe we're starting something. Maybe we're starting a new tradition for the Brownlow. So, what an exciting count, though. Wow, right down to the last round. Amazing.
Incredible. And look, a deserved winner.
Oh, he's a great player.
However, very lucky. That knock on Kalachi, he's lucky.
And there's a lot of, what would you say, murmuring about that. And
Is there now?
Get yourself a good lawyer. You think about people who have lost it in the past because they were reported. Corey McKernan missed out on one. Chris Grant missed out on one. And they were both pretty fair players during their whole career, right?
Yeah.
A couple of misdemeanours that you thought, with a good lawyer these days, they'd probably get off. They probably are Brownlow medalists. So there you go. But it's still the best and fairest. We've got to remember that.
Well, it is. And look, he is a deserved winner, but I had Toot Miller. That's who I thought was going to win.
How
but,
good was his run? That was amazing. And you think they won 12 games. He would have won by 10 votes.
Could you imagine? Yeah.
He had a great year.
Yeah,
He's a great
watch him
player.
next year, I reckon. And we were talking about Connor Rosey.
I did.
Clearly the umps didn't pay much attention to him this year, but again, one to watch for next year.
Well, I think sometimes it does take, especially an interstate club, I think it normally takes at least one good year to sort of get under their eyeballs.
Yeah.
But this was ridiculous. I mean, he would have clearly been Port Adelaide's biggest poll getter. He certainly was in the coaches' votes, so they know who's having an impact on the game. But the umpires couldn't see that till very late in the season.
I'd be interested to see what Andrew Brayshaw polled last year compared to this year, because there was rumblings about how good of a player he was.
Takes a while, I reckon.
It does when you're an interstate player. It shouldn't,
but it does.
but it does.
Yeah, so
And how were you
lots
in
to
the hot
learn.
seat yesterday when you were calling the SNFL
it
Grand
was-
Final?
And you're considered an expert commentator, right? So there's one of those moments, it's close, know it's going to fit. Either way, I always think about whoever wins is going to be watching this back for the rest of their life. And they're going to be thinking, Timmy, you are an idiot. At this point in time of the game, you are an idiot for saying that. So it's really hard to get it right. But in the end, I made a few comments that I think might come back to make me look a little special, where I said I said Nord are very comfortable in this situation. I think they were about 11 points down.
The pendulum was starting to swing.
Yeah, and I said they know how to win the close game. They've had 3 finals like it. I said they feel comfortable right at this moment. And we actually are talking to the coach and the Jack Oatey medalist, Harry Boyd, tonight. So that question will be brought up for sure.
How fitting, though, to get Matt Panos, the snap at the end there, 628 days out of the game, comes back and, really played so well. There's so many moments in a grand final,
There are.
but I tell you what, that Sydney Collingwood game, if that went on for another 30 seconds, I think we'd be... Collingwood would be there, and our tips would be...
Well, they had a lot of luck like that during the season, but in the finals it ran out for them. They lost their final to Geelong by 6 points, and they lost this one by 1 point. So in the end, the odds got to them, and Sydney are through now. So they've got to just make sure they recover, get Ben Reid up and about. Hopefully he can be able to get fit and play. I think they can make a real game of it, but Geelong look red hot. They were awesome against Brisbane. They've won 15 in a row. Might be hard to stop the Cats.
Well, they've got 8 new faces. Cameron, Isaac Smith, Tom Atkins, Brad Close, Sam de Koning, Zach Guthrie, Tyson Stengel. I mean, that's... Oh, and Max Holmes, if he can get up.
Yeah.
That's a fair little recruitment that they've had since playing their last final.
They've actually done it very well, haven't they? They haven't fallen out of the 8 at any stage during that time. And they haven't won a flag since 2011. Played a lot of prelims, and now they can make more. They'll all be hoping they'll get the chocolates. That's what they're aiming for.
But what I love about Sydney is that they've shown this year that you can rebuild while still moving forward.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't use rebuild as an excuse. Sorry, we're rebuilding. They're the perfect example of a club with such a young list. I think 3/4 of them are under 24 or something.
It's something like 3 of their back 6 are rookie listed.
Oh, wow.
So it gives you an idea that they've recruited very well and they've managed their list very well. So you might be right there. It might be just a cop-out when they say that. There you go. See you at 4.
Big show for you guys. Thank you so much. And don't miss David and Will's grand Vinyl Eve show, where they will stop down and play all their favourite footy and grand final tunes right here on 5AA this Friday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m, all thanks to Clarity Records, your fully independent record store serving the local music community for over 12 years. Clarity Records, 60 Pulteney Street. Well, the Queen's lying in state has ended after more than 400,000 loyal subjects and leaders filed past to pay their respects. It is around 7 a.m. in London. As I look at live pictures, you can see that people are starting to line the streets there in readiness for the Queen's funeral in just a few hours' time. Let's cross now to London. At Windsor Castle, we'll find our royal correspondent for Nine Honey, Natalie Oliveri. Natalie, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Jade.
We can hear people in the background. Can you paint a picture of what it's like? What's the mood? How many people?
Well, yes, it's just after 7 a.m. here at Windsor Castle, and already there are hundreds of people lining the very long walk leading up to the castle gates. Now, I got here about half an hour ago, and people told me they had been camping overnight to get prime position. It's still a long wait to go until Her Majesty's coffin, the cortege, arrives here at Windsor at around 3 p.m. this afternoon, and then it will be taken inside the castle gate for a private interment service. Look, people here are excited, but also very eager to pay their respects to Her Majesty, but certainly a really long wait. Lots of camping chairs, lots of picnic blankets, but I have to say the mood here is quite festive as well. Lots of food carts and, really just people settling in for a very long wait.
It's her final trip to say goodbye before she's reunited with her late husband, which will be a very private affair, but we're expecting to see all the family members of the royal family involved somehow today.
That's right. So the main events, I guess, if you want to call it that, will be taking place in London, and Westminster Abbey will open in just under an hour's time for guests, dignitaries, foreign royals, world leaders to start arriving. And then we will see members of the royal family a little bit later today. And a surprise, we have heard that Prince George and Princess Charlotte will be walking behind their great-grandmother's coffin as it enters into Westminster Abbey. The service will be around an hour long, and 2,000 people invited there. Then it will, the funeral cortege will take a bit of a journey through London, a final goodbye for Her Majesty, and then the coffin will be put on a hearse and driven this final leg to Windsor Castle, where the procession will resume on foot, and that will begin at the very top of the long walk all the way down to the gates of Windsor Castle for that private burial. So a very long day ahead for the royal family. We're going to see all of them there today, including, of course, King Charles and Queen Consort Camilla, the Prince and Princess of Wales, and also the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan. They'll be taking a key role in today's proceedings.
And the Buckingham Palace, they've released an unseen picture of Her Majesty. When was that taken? And gosh, she looks beautiful.
She really does. This was taken just a few months ago at Windsor, and it's amazing to see that the Queen is one of the most photographed women on the planet, yet there are still photos that we haven't seen of her. So this was a really, really nice portrait, and it was taken by a photographer who had a very close relationship with the royal family. So you can see how he's managed just to capture Her Majesty so informally. She looks very relaxed, and she's wearing a pair of Art Deco brooches that were given to her from her late mother. So a really nice touch there. But certainly I think the royal family will be surprising us in the next few weeks with previously unseen photos and videos, because the Queen has led a remarkable life, 96 years, and of course 70 years on the throne, celebrated this year during her Platinum Jubilee.
When do you expect to see guests starting to arrive? Because I guess when you've got 2,000 people, it's going to take some time to seat them.
Yeah, so the doors to the Abbey open at around 5 o'clock Sydney time, so that's in about 45 minutes. But look, there's 2,000, so it's going to take quite some time. The funeral service doesn't start until 11 a.m. local time, so still quite a few hours away, but I guess it's a massive operation trying to get everyone inside and seated. But so far, since the Queen passed at Balmoral Castle, everything has ran to military precision. Yesterday, last night, we saw a diplomatic reception held inside Buckingham Palace. Now, that was King Charles's first major event since he acceded the throne, and one official likened that visit to being 100 state visits in one. Now, normally a state visit could take up to a year to plan, so that sort of gives you the scale of just how big this is. I think 20 members of royal families from around the world, 500 world leaders and dignitaries, and of course friends and a lot of people connected to the late monarch's charity. So this is going to be a very personal funeral as well. And we're also, the order of service has been released, and one of those songs included at the funeral and also here at the private burial was a song played at Her Majesty's wedding to the late Duke of Edinburgh back in 1947.
Oh, wow. What else has been released? Who else will we hear from?
Look, the Prime Minister is going to be, that is the British Prime Minister, she's going to be giving a reading. The Archbishop of Canterbury is going to be giving a reading as well and leading the service. But I think the biggest surprise, as I mentioned, was that the Queen's great-grandchildren, George and Charlotte, will be taking part in this procession, which is really lovely. I mean, George is heir to the throne. He's just 9 years old, and there was a lot of speculation that none of the Queen's great-grandchildren were going to be involved in the service just because of their young age. But I think it's really nice that Prince George is going to be playing a key role, a very small role, but still he'll be walking next to his sister Charlotte. She's just 7, and they'll be following behind their parents, Prince William and Catherine, and immediately behind George and Charlotte will be their auntie and uncle, Prince Harry and Meghan, and the rest of the royal family to follow from there.
How unbelievably overwhelming would it be for a 9-year-old to look at that is his future, that he's looking into his future and that's what lays ahead. Natalie, what's the security presence like?
Look, you know, there are a lot of police around, lots of police, lots of sniffer dogs, helicopters going above me as I speak. You can probably hear them now. But honestly, everyone here is very, very friendly, even the police. They're all quite cheerful. They've got a massive day ahead of them. And I believe this is the biggest security operation the UK, or London in particular, has ever seen. This trumps the Olympics. This is just the biggest thing ever. So, look, everywhere you go, there are police officers around, security, and of course private security as well. They're sort of blending in as you would expect. But certainly you can walk around freely. There has been bag checks, though, to get into the Long Walk at Windsor. I had my bag searched, which is nice. A nice comfort, I guess. But they're sort of letting people do their own thing. It's not like a military operation here in terms of, like, you can walk around freely is what I'm saying.
Enjoy the moment as much as you can. I know that it's, we're celebrating the life of an incredible person, and we really thank you for all your time and reports over there. And I guess it is enjoy what is going to be a moment, incredible moment in history.
Yeah, well, look, just one thing finally. Last night, the whole of London paused, the whole of the UK really paused for a minute's silence around 8 p.m. And it was really nice just to walk inside a pub and have, the incredibly loud noise immediately silenced as everyone stood and bowed their heads as the nation paid their respects to the Queen and also, of course, our head of state in Australia too, Jade.
It must be unbelievable over there that everybody is just feeling the same. You don't have to tell anybody when they're walking into view the Queen to be quiet. Everyone's so respectful and reflective. It's been quite incredible to sit back from afar as Australia, but for you to be there and walk the streets and be amongst it, wow, it must be an incredible experience.
Yeah, look, it's been such a privilege, and I still can't believe that I am here being able to cover this for Nine and Nine Honey. It's just an honour. I mean, I've grown up with the Queen, as you have too, Jade, and the royals have been part of our lives forever. And I guess it's really sad to see her 70-year reign come to an end. However, it is also an exciting chapter for the royal family once they move past this mourning period. King Charles has been waiting to, take his mother's position on the throne for quite some time. He's the longest, he was the longest serving heir in British history. He's 73. Certainly his reign won't be as long as his mother's. That's very impossible, but I think he hopefully will have a long reign ahead of him, and of course then the throne will pass to his son, Prince William, Prince of Wales, taking that very important title from his father.
Goodness me. Yeah, we all say we'd love to have, Prince William step up as king, but you look at everything that's involved and you think, yeah, he needs to observe his father for some time and then,
I think so.
and then take over the reign after that. It's a lot to take in, a big responsibility.
Absolutely, and he's a father of 3 young children, and the Prince and Princess of Wales recently moved to Windsor Castle, into the surrounds of the castle, to start a new life away from London, to give their children as normal an upbringing as possible. They moved into Adelaide Cottage, and part of that was to allow them to be closer to the Queen as she sort of wound back her royal duties after so long because of these mobility issues she had been experiencing. Now, of course, they are most likely going to be moving again. We don't know when, but it's likely that they'll be moving into the big house, that is Windsor Castle. But we don't really know yet King Charles's plans for all these royal residents. There is talk that he's going to shake things up a bit, maybe open up some of these palaces and castles to the public a little bit more. But again, we're sort of going to have to wait and see. But William has been observing, I guess, the ins and outs of the job since he was a teenager. The Queen was very instrumental in teaching him, I guess, what the role involves. And of course, now he's going to be observing that from his father.
Natalie Oliveri, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jade.
Thank you. That is Natalie Oliveri, our royal correspondent at Windsor Castle from 9 Honey, coming to us live from London over there. So it's about 45 minutes away before the doors of Westminster Abbey will open. Dignitaries will be bussed in. So there's lines and lines of buses that have been kept aside for a couple of days now, surrounded by security. Now, they've been swept most days. Heads of state, prime ministers, presidents, special guests. It is not their normal mode of transport. Normally they'd be arriving in, stretch limousines or what have you, but no, they'll all be jumping on these chartered buses and bussed in. A short time ago, Queen Rania of Jordan spoke to the media about her memories of Her Majesty the Queen.
What stands out for me is how, despite being the most important person in the room, she always made you feel like you're the most important person in the room, And she just had a very gentle and subtle way around her. Her elegance wasn't just in her appearance, but it really was in the way she lived her life and the way she conducted herself around other people. She always made you, she always disarmed you because she knew that anybody around her is going to be feeling a sense of deep awe and maybe a bit of panic when they meet Her Majesty. So she always disarmed you by looking you in the eye, by giving a gentle smile, but by just a little bit of a teasing joke. She always somehow made you feel comfortable around her, and she was very empathetic and always focused on the person in front of her. How are they feeling? How can I make them feel more comfortable? So I just have the most wonderful memories of her, and throughout the years, every time I met her, I thought she was warmer and warmer, and would give. She doesn't ever presume that you want her advice, but she's always very generous when you ask for it, and so she always gave a guiding hand, and always gave just direction, and I really looked up to her. To me, she is the Queen of the world. She might be the Queen of England, but I think symbolically she's Queen to all of us.
And we can continue our live coverage here on 5AA from 7 p.m. tonight. We're going to take a short break. Back soon.
Another 5AA magic moment.
Bouncing footy, top of the square. Lipinski, can he run onto it? Good tackle. Play on's the call. It's on the goal square. Rush through for a behind. And the 1 second on the clock will elapse. And the Swans will be into the grand final.
5AA is your home of finals football. Thanks to Rossdale Homes. Check out any of our 9 display villages. They're open all this weekend.
Last month, we serviced around 11,000 vehicles, more than 3,000 Hyundais, i30s, 20s, Santa Fe's, 2,000 Kias, Sorrentos, Carnivals, Rios, over 700 Hondas. That's right, over 11,000 people trusted us with their pride and joy. Automasters, isn't it time for you to switch and save? Call 1300 Automasters or book online. All centres offer repair now, pay later options. So switch and save with Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
G'day, it's Jared for Southern Mitsubishi. Thinking Mitsubishi or servicing your existing car? Southern Mitsubishi stock the full range, all designed to thrill. And they can service any make or model. 147 Main South Road, Morfett Vale. Driven by Australian Motors. LVD 80.
Where can you get catch of the day without the catch? Where can you get freshly baked for less dough? Where can you get more dairy for less moolah? Adelaide's finest foodland is committed to quality and affordability. You can afford Adelaide's finest at Frueville and Pasadena.
You know who doesn't need a pest exterminator's licence?
I don't know, Will, a dentist?
Correct.
An interior designer?
Also true, but what about a pest inspector?
Well, surely they need one.
No, there are some pest inspectors that can't do exterminations. Once you get their report, they fob you off to another guy to finish the job. Well, House Inspect Australia does building and pest inspections with the most qualified team in Australia.
That's right, they're licensed to track them and licensed to kill them. Go to houseinspectaustralia.com.au.
Michelangelo Sistine Chapel. The exhibition is here. Over 30 of Michelangelo Sistine Chapel frescoes are reproduced in life-size form, so you can experience his art like never before. See every detail up close and at your own pace. Don't miss the chance to travel in time and be immersed in Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, the exhibition. On now until October 9 in Rundle Place. Tickets at the FIVEAA website, feverUp.com/Adelaide, or download the FIVEAA app today.
Hi, it's Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop Real Estate. Our sales team met more than 32,000 buyers over the past year, but there are usually less than 5,000 homes for sale in Adelaide at any one time. Put simply, demand for property is still outweighing supply, and that means quality homes are still achieving premium prices, especially when you're working with a sales team of unrivaled experience. Learn what your home might be worth in the current market. Visit toop.com.au to find out more. toop.com.au.
Last month, around 11,000 people trusted us with their pride and joy. Automasters, logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Isn't it time for you to switch and save? Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
Jade Robran, talking Adelaide on 1395 5AA.
Welcome back to Afternoons. Well, earlier today, Premier Peter Malinauskas announced that masks are no longer required on public transport. He will also ease restrictions on visitors to residential aged care facilities. Visitors will no longer have to be vaccinated, and there'll be no longer a cap on the number of visitors if less than 70% of residents are vaccinated. QR codes have also been ditched at hospitals, disability care facilities and healthcare settings. Now, these changes will come into force from Friday. Joining me on the line now is Dr. Michelle Atchison, the President of the AMA here in South Australia. Doctor, thank you so much for your time. Do you welcome these changes?
Look, we can understand the changes around aged care and QR codes. I think we would all see that that's probably a sensible thing to be doing. But with great concern, we listen to the fact that masks might be taken off or will be taken off in public transport. Now, we know that COVID is, numbers are decreasing at the moment, but the modelling that we've seen through the AMA is that we're looking at probably another wave come late October, November. And we just call on the government to be able to be nimble with these changes. So if you take off a good public health measure, so wearing masks in a crowded place is a very good, public health measure, we've got to have the capacity to put it back on if we see that numbers are going to creep up again.
So the advice was handed from the Acting Chief Public Health Officer, Dr. Chris Lees. Do you wish that they'd spoken to you as well? Because clearly you've got different figures than what they do.
Well, the Chief Health Officer, the Acting Chief Health Officer, would have the same modelling that we have.
Okay.
And I understand, though, that Peter Malinauskas is trying to be consistent across Australia, and other jurisdictions have taken off mask mandates in public transport, so he's likely, following suit with all of that. But again, we can't predict with a crystal ball where things are going. We're feeling a little bit more comfortable about COVID at the moment, but everything that we're seeing is saying, look, on the horizon there may be another wave. If we need to put on those mask mandates again, let's please have the sensible, view that if we need to do that, we do it.
common sense prevail, no, certainly. Thank you very much, Doctor, for joining us. That is Dr. Michelle Atchison, President of the AMA here in South Australia. That is a wrap from me today. Thank you so much for your company. Stay tuned. The boys are up next for the sports show. Have a great afternoon.
Like shocks shooting through your body.
That's how some people describe their shingles pain. Shingles is caused by the reactivation of the chickenpox virus. While most people recover fully, up to 25% may experience long-term complications.
I had to cancel all my plans and struggled to work.
Up to 1 in